This is from Ramin in Iran. I think some feelings don't show up the way people expect. When this started, I didn't feel dramatic sadness. I just felt heavy and slow, like something important had happened, and my body didn't know how to react yet. I was in my apartment in Germany, doing nothing special when my phone rang. It was my sister. I almost didn't answer right away, because I thought she might be calling for something small, like paperwork or a quick question. But as soon as I heard her voice, I knew it wasn't that. She told me our mother was gone. She said it clearly, but my mind didn't accept it right away. I kept waiting for her to explain or correct herself. Instead, there was just silence between us. I remember thinking how strange it felt that everything around me looked exactly the same. I sat down because my legs felt weak. I wasn't crying. I was just frozen. I kept noticing small things, the sound in the room, the light from the window, and feeling almost offended that the world hadn't changed. It felt wrong that life was still moving when something this big had just happened. My first thought was simple. I need to go back. It felt obvious, like there wasn't even a decision to make. But almost immediately, another thought followed. If I go back, I might not be able to leave again. That thought scared me, and I felt ashamed for even considering it so quickly. My sister kept talking about plans and relatives and what needed to be done. I answered her, but I don't remember exactly what I said. My attention kept drifting. All I could think was that my mother was being talked about in past tense, and I was still sitting thousands of miles away. After the call ended, I didn't know what to do with myself. I didn't cry. I didn't move much either. I opened my laptop and looked at flights, even though I already knew it wouldn't be that simple. Seeing the options on the screen felt pointless, like I was pretending there was a choice. I kept asking myself why I was hesitating. It wasn't because I didn't care. It was because my life here felt fragile. From the outside, people think moving to Europe means everything is settled. For me, it still felt temporary, like something that could disappear if I made one wrong move. When I left Iran years ago, I told my mother I'd be back soon. I think we both knew that wasn't guaranteed, but we didn't say it out loud. I still remember her helping me pack and acting like it was a short trip. That memory came back to me over and over after the call. Building a life here wasn't dramatic. It was slow and exhausting. Forms, appointments, waiting, and always being careful. Even when things started to improve, I never felt completely safe. I was always aware that crossing a border again could undo everything I had worked for. After the first day passed, people back home started calling more often. Aunts, uncles, cousins I hadn't spoken to in years. They asked how I was holding up, and then, carefully, asked when I was coming. No one said it directly, but I could hear the expectation in their voices. Every time someone asked, my chest tightened. I kept giving vague answers. I'm trying. I'm figuring things out. It wasn't a lie, but it wasn't the truth either. The truth was that I was scared, and I didn't know how to say that without sounding selfish. I talked to a lawyer friend about what could happen if I went back. He didn't tell me not to go, but he didn't reassure me either. He said things like there's always a risk and nothing is guaranteed. Hearing that made the decision feel heavier, not clearer. At night, I kept imagining myself at the airport, going through security, sitting on the plane, landing, and then nothing. No image of coming back. My mind just stopped there, like it couldn't picture a return. That blank space scared me more than anything else. I kept thinking about how my mother would probably tell me to stay where I was. She always worried about my safety more than her own comfort. That thought didn't bring relief. It made the guilt worse, because it felt like I was using her kindness as an excuse. The day of the funeral came. I knew the exact time because of the time difference. While they were gathering, I was sitting alone in my apartment. I didn't light a candle or say anything out loud. I just checked the clock over and over, knowing exactly what was happening somewhere else. When it was over, no one called right away. I think everyone assumed I was busy grieving in my own way. The truth was, I felt empty, not sad in a dramatic way, just hollow, like something had been skipped and my body didn't know how to catch up. In the weeks after, life slowly went back to normal around me. Work emails, errands, small talk. People would ask how my family was doing, and I'd say, okay, because explaining felt too complicated. I realized I had become very good at keeping things simple on the surface. Sometimes I wondered if not going back had protected me, or if it had changed me in ways I didn't notice yet. I felt safer, yes, but I also felt quieter, like a part of me had learned to stay out of the way, even in moments that mattered. I didn't talk about the funeral with anyone here. Not friends, not coworkers. It felt like something that didn't belong in my new life. Like, if I said it out loud, people would ask questions I couldn't answer, and I wasn't ready to hear my own reasons spoken back to me. Months passed, and on paper, my life looked stable. I was working, paying rent, following the rules. From the outside, it probably looked like I had made the right choice, but inside, there was this constant sense that something unfinished was following me around, even during normal days. Sometimes it showed up in small ways. I'd see someone talking to their mother on the phone in public, laughing casually, and I'd feel this tight feeling in my chest. Not jealousy exactly. More like a reminder that there was a conversation I could never have again. When my family called, things felt different. No one blamed me. That almost made it harder. Conversations stayed polite and careful, like we were all avoiding something. I could feel the space where my absence had settled, even though no one mentioned it directly. I tried to tell myself I did what I had to do, that survival matters, that staying safe wasn't wrong. Some days I believed that. Other days, it sounded like something I'd rehearsed too many times, hoping repetition would turn it into truth. What bothered me most was realizing how quickly I adapted, how fast I learned to live with the decision. That scared me. It made me wonder how many other lines I might be willing to cross quietly, as long as life kept moving forward. There are moments now when I imagine going back, not for the funeral, but just to stand somewhere familiar. Then I remember that time doesn't work like that. You don't get to revisit moments you avoided. You just carry the memory of avoiding them. I don't know if my mother would have understood my choice. I tell myself she would have, but the truth is, I'll never get to ask. That uncertainty sits with me more heavily than any clear answer ever could. I don't think this makes me a bad person. I also don't think it makes me innocent. It just makes me human. Someone who chose safety and has to live with everything that choice included, not just the parts that were easier to explain. Sometimes I wonder what other people would have done in my place, not to judge me, but because I genuinely don't know what the right answer was. I still don't, and maybe that's the part that stays unresolved. If you've ever had to choose between protecting the life you built and showing up for something you couldn't replace, I'd like to hear how you think about it now. Your perspective might help someone else feel less alone. And if stories like this matter to you, please like the video and subscribe for more.